Okay, so Terry, thank you for joining me today. It's good to see you.
It's so good seeing you. Thanks for having me.
So it's day 30 for these guys, 13
Yay.
clients this month. Some of them have not, completed it or made it through, or some of them restarted. But we have a group that's very eager to learn. And a lot of them who did restart, that was on their own accord, a decision that they made. As you know, you did a whole 30, you did a whole 60, but doing it, can you imagine doing it even during a pandemic? So they've been through a lot.
Yes, absolutely.
So talk about, why you came to me and why you came to Whole30, and kind of what the issues were going into it.
Very good. So I have allergies, so I apologize for my voice. It might come and go. But so um, a couple years ago, I tried the Whole30, lost 17 pounds. It was awesome, but I did it on my own and I didn't reintroduce. And so then when I started eating again, I just went back to eating and ended up gaining like all my weight back and everything because I didn't do it the proper way. And then in the meantime, got diagnosed with thyroid cancer, had my thyroid out, and after that, started really struggling with my weight and whatnot. That led into knee issues. So then I was going through and I almost had to have a full knee replacement. And my family finally said, okay, enough's enough. And my daughter Megan said, hey mom, my friend Christy is a Whole30 coach. She tried Whole30 once. And I was like, it's so scary. I don't want to try it again because it's so scary. And she said, trust me, you'll really love Christy, trust me. And so I trusted her, and she introduced me to you, and she hired you as my coach, and we went through the process together, and that's where we are today. So we started the January group. And I was trying to remember the other day because, and I meant to look back at my notes. We started like January, what, 7th or something?
We started January 1st, even though it was tough. We did.
Okay, did we
Yeah,
start
because
January 1st?
uh,
I was like, I
yeah.
couldn't remember. And then I was just like, maybe it was a week later. And then, so since January to now, I have actually lost like 45 pounds. I went from not being able to barely walk, like literally barely walk, to being able to work out. I work out on the treadmill. I not only walk on the treadmill, but so I walk a couple miles every day, but I actually have incorporated jogging into so I walk like a quarter of a mile, and then I jog a quarter of a mile, and then I walk a quarter of a mile, and I figure, and I do 2 to 3 miles a day. And I'm able to move. My knee, I had gone to doctors everywhere, doctors here, and even a doctor in Chicago, and then went to the Mayo Clinic, and he said, take ibuprofen every day. I was taking 800 milligrams of ibuprofen before I worked out in January and February. I am now like literally not taking ibuprofen at all, thanks to the Whole30. Sometimes after I work out, my knee is a little sore, like it's tender. But that's expected, but I'm able to move. I'm able to work out. I feel so free because I feel healthy, and that's exactly what I wanted, and I'm happy, and that's what's important. So
That is a big deal. And I know the weight loss was important to you, but you were a person who, I think, even though there was weight loss in your ultimate goals, you didn't talk about it while you were doing the
no.
Whole30. You didn't have an issue stepping away from the scale, but you were able to feel the difference. So what were you feeling during those 30 days? And what made you understand that 60 might be a better time frame for you?
So great question. So the weight loss was never really part of it. It was all about getting healthy and sort of, like I'm starting to get old. I mean, well, I am older. I turned 53 in November, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like I'm over 50. And it was more about, I want to live long. I want to have a healthy life. and it's time to put myself first. You know, it's always been everybody else. So it was stepping away from the scale was not the big part. It was not. In fact, to this day, I still only weigh once a month. I, you know, I'm not focused on the scale. I'm focused on how do I feel. And so going into the first 30 days, it was like a little intimidating at first because you're doing all the food prep and you're getting ready. But after about day 14, day 15, it's like, oh, I've got this, you know, I can do this. And then all of a sudden you're at day 30 and you're just like, oh, that wasn't so bad. And so then going into the whole 60 was like really amazing because it was like, just, you know, in our busy lifestyle and everything, it was easy to continue on because I had already started the pattern. So it was like, okay, I've already done 30. I can continue on for another 30 days. And it wasn't even difficult at that point. It was like, oh, I've got this. And I was feeling so healthy, like literally still had never been on the scale, never stepped on the scale after 30 days. My clothes were starting to feel looser, but it was not, you know, even one of those things. I was able to start moving. I was able to breathe easier. I could feel like my skin, you know, like felt better. You know, I just felt better overall. And so I was just like, okay, I can do 60 days. And then we came to the end of 60 days and I was almost sad. I was like, okay, should we do 90 days? And you're like, no, we have to reintroduce.
Right.
Where I got into reintroduction.
Well, and then let's talk about reintroduction, not to scare my clients, but when you hear what your reintroduction experience was like, you understand what was probably happening to you when you were eating these foods and not paying as much attention to what they were doing. So tell us what happened when you started to reintroduce.
So that was really a big part of the Whole30. And reintroduction it's scary and it's intimidating, but my biggest, one of the biggest things I want to get out of the Whole30 was my food freedom. I really was excited about my food freedom. And I wanted to find out what I could eat and what I couldn't eat. And so when you and I went through the reintroduction and we went day by day, and it's just like, okay, reintroduce this on this day and then, you know, go back on the Whole30 for 2 days. And I had my whole map out and I thought, how am I going to know? How will I know by reintroducing legumes that I really don't, you know, that these don't react well with me? And you're just like, you'll just know. And I'm just like, I didn't understand how you would know, but you know, I got a lot of my reactions was like a nauseated stomach. Just my stomach did not feel well. I was nauseous. I'm still literally going through the process of reintroduction. One of the things just, you know, recently is tomatoes. I reintroduced tomatoes, but I reintroduced tomatoes probably with something else and thought it was something else that, you know, was causing my stomach aches. So I eliminated that. And then I reintroduced tomatoes again, probably with something else, because usually when you have tomatoes, you don't just eat a tomato, you eat it with something. And then I would have a stomach ache again. So now I've realized that I actually cannot have tomatoes. And so if I have anything, and I love tomatoes, and I'm Italian and I'm Greek, and I mean, we eat tomatoes and olives with everything, but olives is another thing. I cannot have olives. And it doesn't only just give me a stomach ache, it gives me severe pains, like just pains in my stomach, pains in my back, and just, I feel awful all over. So it's like one of those things where you're just like, once you get to feel like what your body feels like good, once you eat something that, you know, is not good for your body tells you this does not work. And well, at least me personally, I may not have found it out like the first time. Maybe I'm not the smartest bulb in the sea or in the light, but the smartest fish in the sea, I guess it is. But I, you know, like I had to try a couple things a couple times because I liked it so much that I didn't want to just chalk it up to, oh, that's bad for me. And I gave it a couple more tries and then finally came to the determination that no, I cannot have this. So so on some foods, it was right away, nope, I can never have that again. On other ones, it was trial and error with, to get to the point where it's like, nope, that's the culprit. So
yeah, and we've talked about, with the clients, we've talked about like how it is a constant process, and you might find out that, that you're gonna, the more you can isolate, the better your knowledge is going to be. But you and I, on the tomato end of things, we had talked about nightshades and going without nightshades that second 30 days. So my guess is you could have, there could be a nightshade issue there. So have you tried other nightshades since we took the nightshades out? Like, have you tried any eggplant or cayenne pepper, and sometimes the actual seasoning, because it's a little bit of a smaller portion, like you're going to find that sweet spot of like, this amount might bother me, but then this amount I'm kind of okay. And as long as I don't have it often, because the thing about tomato sauce, when you're Italian, you're probably having it a lot. So you could have created that by having it so much. And sometimes you just need to take it out for a long time and then bring it back slowly. And you can go back to it. But what else did you learn? Because I think we eliminated nightshades that second go around.
Like bell peppers, I noticed, like I made stuffed bell peppers, and I noticed that, I wasn't sure if it was the bell pepper or the rice, so I eliminated bell peppers. And I've also eliminated rice because I have found that rice seems like such a bland food that it seems like something that would not bother you. But for some reason, rice seems to really bother my stomach. And it's something, it was like a staple in my life prior to Whole30. So eventually I will probably reintroduce, rice by itself without a bell pepper to see, how I do with rice. And then one day I'll reintroduce bell peppers without rice. But that combination together made me so, not feel well for so many days that I was like, okay, both of those are going on the back burner for right now. And so that's the trial and error, that it's just like, okay, so yeah, but that's about, it's not as scary reintroducing as I thought it would be. That is for sure. Once you do it right, once you learn how to do it the right way and you follow the steps of how, like the chart that you give us is so amazing because it tells you exactly what to reintroduce those days. And so it really helps you to follow that. So,
well, what did you also learn about, obviously you were trying to get rid of inflammation. That was a huge goal. And, we got you there from where you were to not really being able to walk or exercise all that much to being able to run some, walk some, you went hiking, you do all those kinds of things. But what did it do for you how did it help you with cravings and other mental things that go along with your food decisions? And how is that going in your food freedom?
That's a great question. So one of the things that it's so funny because I thought that I would be a big cheater. I thought, oh, I'm going to miss sugar so much. Once I got over the sugar cravings, I have not gone back to sugar at all. And more research I've done on sugar and how sugar causes so much inflammation and whatnot, it has made me not, because I can move and because I feel so free and so good and so healthy, I have not had the desire to go back to sugar. So it's almost like the food freedom and the benefits of feeling free with the food freedom and the healthy feelings, it's actually helped my cravings a lot. Now, do like every once in a blue moon, I'll have a piece of dark chocolate, just like a little square, just because you just need something every so often. But then I have it and I'm like, oh, I didn't really enjoy that, so I don't need it again. And it's been really nice. I've really adjusted my coffee. Like I love, almond milk and coconut milk, and in my coffee and, just things like that, and it's like I've started using cinnamon. If I feel like I need something sweet, like I'll have a bowl of fruit for dessert and I'll sprinkle just cinnamon on it just to change it up a little bit. And it's just like you find these things and you're just like, oh, like, like everybody else in my family could have that brownie and that bowl of ice cream, and I don't really miss it because I feel so good, and it's just like, so I feel like the cravings aren't even there because of the fact that that the inflammation and everything is gone, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense.
No, it absolutely makes sense. And, the combination of sugar and gluten and sugar with other things that we eat is what causes, a majority of that inflammation in people. And, unfortunately, sometimes it takes till people feel kind of crummy and have a problem to solve before they end up doing the Whole30. But, we try to get some people to do it early. What has it done to help you be so in tune with your body now? I mean, how did the journaling help you, and how are you aware of yourself more now than you were before?
So the journaling, I love the journaling because it really helps to keep me on track. Especially some days get really, really busy, and it reminds me to eat or what I have or have not eaten. And just because some days, I can go from, like I had breakfast this morning, and then all of a sudden, I don't even know what time it is now. And it's like almost 5 o'clock at night, and I have not eaten since, and it was just like one of those days that was so busy. And so I grabbed an apple like at about 3 o'clock because I was like, okay, I need to have something. So I grabbed an apple, and I was like, what protein can I have with my apple? And I had some hard-boiled eggs. So it was just like, there's an apple and a hard-boiled egg. And it was because my journal was sitting there, and I was like going, the time is clicking by and I have not had lunch yet. And so I was like, there's my apple, there's my hard-boiled egg. I'll call that lunch for today. And had I not had my journal sitting there, I probably would have totally forgot to eat lunch just because I've been so busy. And so it just keeps me on track. And now I know that, okay, I had a very light lunch, so now I know what I can eat for dinner. And it just keeps me on track. As far as working out too, it really helps me to see the steps I've taken. It was Mother's Day yesterday, and my son and his girlfriend came over, and my daughter was home, and we were talking, and I was like, gosh, some days I don't feel like I'm making as big as progress as I feel like, you have those days where you feel like you're making so much progress, and then other days where you're like, gosh, I should be doing more. And so we went back and we looked through my journal, and we looked at, like, oh my gosh, in January, it was taking me, like 23, 24 minutes to walk a mile. And now I'm walking a 15-minute mile. And some days it's a 14 or a 13-minute mile. And so it's like little steps like that you're going, oh, I am getting better. Oh, and had I not had that written down in my journal, I would not have seen the benefits of going from here to here in regards to the improvements, and whatnot. And especially because I'm not weighing all the time, it's like you don't see the scale benefits. You see, oh yeah, I can move faster, and I can move further, and I'm not in so much pain. I journal also about like the ibuprofen, like I was going from 800 milligrams a day, literally in one dose, and sometimes a couple times a day. I mean, that can't be good for you at all, and it's just like down to none, and so I don't take any ibuprofen at all. So it's like, oh, well, that's a huge step. So all those little baby steps add up to this huge, yes, I'm going in the right direction. So.
Yeah, my clients are tired of hearing me preach the 1% better every day, but that's what we've been doing. And we have one who is on meloxicam right now because of inflammation and some arthritis, and we want to get her off of that. So hopefully you can serve as an inspiration for her. She's doing a Whole60. But I think in closing, what I would say is, what would you say to these clients today that finished the Whole30? What would you tell them about what's to come, and congratulate them on what they've done? And I'll leave your message as the last word.
Well, thank you. Well, absolutely, congratulations, because Whole30 it's amazing, and you made it through 30 days, and that is, oh my God, so amazing. And if you're going on to 60 days, good for you and good luck, because it is like such a great thing. You know, it's just so amazing, you know, that you will feel so good after 60 days that you'll be like, oh, I have got this. I've got, you know, I can do this for the rest of my life. Or, you know, we're all going to have those days we fall back. Christy always says, yeah, you know, if you fall back, then you re-kick, you know, you jumpstart, you kick it off again, you do you know, a 10-day restart or a 15-day restart. And I always keep that in my mind. But just remember to forgive yourself, and to love yourself, and to always, you know, I cannot say enough that having a coach has been amazing. I still feel like I can text Christy and say, hey, you know, what if, you know, what about this, or ask her any questions. So I really feel like having a coach has been an amazing benefit to this. And if you're stopping here at Whole30, just do reintroduction the right way, because I did reintroduction the wrong way, and that does not work at all. So do reintroduction the right way, because it does work and it does help you feel good. And it seems like it's a long, slow process, but like it goes so quickly. And you know, the 14 days is done before you even know it. And so just reintroduce, but give your body time to tell you what exactly it likes and it doesn't like, what is good for you and what is not. And I guess that's about it. Just keep on believing in yourself, and that's the best you can do. So I hope I helped a little bit.
Oh, thank you for your message, Teri. We appreciate it.